Davros has created a machine creature, a monster, which will terrorize and destroy millions and millions of lives and lands throughout all eternity. He has given this machine a name, a Dalek. It is a word new to you, but for 1,000 generations it is a name that will bring fear and terror.
We'd like you to return to Skaro at a point in time before the Daleks evolve.
Do you mean avert their creation?
When victory is ours, we'll wipe every trace of the Thals and their city from the face of this land. Our battle cry will be total extermination of the Thals!
Who is this Davros?
Our greatest scientist.
This will be a moment that will live in history.
Davros has changed the direction of our research into something which is immoral, evil. Chemical weapons had already started to produce genetic mutations.
The mutos.
Davros started experiments to establish our final mutational form. Some of the things that he created were horrific.
That is our future.
We await your commands.
The whole of the Thal city is burning. The Daleks are moving through it.
I sent Harry and Sarah in there.
I have created their bodies, all the torments and agonies ever known. You will tell me the reason for every Dalek defeat. With that knowledge, I will program them. With that knowledge, they will know their errors and how to avoid them. With that knowledge, there will be no defeats.
You are insane, Davros!
This is only the beginning. We will prepare. We will grow stronger. When the time is right, we will emerge and take our rightful place as the supreme power of the
We're talking about the Daleks, the most evil creatures ever invented. You must destroy them. You must complete your mission for the Time Lords.
Do I have the right?
Hello, YouTube Gallifrey here and welcome to a brand new video. In this video I'm going to be reviewing the Doctor Who DVD for Genesis of the Daleks, one of the greatest Doctor Who stories ever, which tells us how Davros created the Daleks all those years ago on Skaro. So, this is the second DVD review on my channel. And yes, I hope to be doing a DVD review like this for every month of 2017. So how this review is going to work, the first part of the review is going to be a review on the DVD in general. The second part is going to be a review on the story. So getting started with the DVD review, we do have the standard grey case for a Doctor Who DVD. We do have a sticker saying it's the #1 Doctor Who story ever, as in 2009 in the Doctor Who magazine they did a poll and Genesis of the Daleks was voted for as the #1 story of all time. We have the BBC DVD logo there. In the backdrop we do have the TARDIS circle things, the Doctor Who logo there, Genesis of the Daleks, Tom Baker, the Tom Baker years 1974 to 1981, a 2-disc set PG DVD video logo. Then on the cover we do have Davros, creator of the Daleks, with 3 Daleks, and the Daleks and Davros are on the no man's land of Skaro, in between the Thal and Khaled domes, where it's a barren wasteland with loads of razor wire and stuff like that, and rubble, and they're in a green sort of fog. Then here's the spine, Genesis of the Daleks here. Then we do have the BBC 2 Entertain logo here, Tom Baker, Doctor Who. Then we have BBC DVD 1813. Then on the back we have the circles, we have Doctor Who logo starring Tom Baker, Genesis of the Daleks by Terry Nation. At the top we have some pictures, a picture of 2 Daleks, a picture of Davros, a picture of Doctor and Harry, a picture of Sarah Jane and some mutants. Then here we have a picture of Davros and some Kaleds. So, there's all the legal stuff. Here's when it tells you when the story was broadcast. This story was originally broadcast on BBC One between the 8th of March and the 12th of April 1975. The cover art is by Clayton Hickman. It's produced by Philip Hinchcliffe and directed by David Maloney. So, here's the blurb, which you probably can't read as this is quite bad quality, but when I do the review on the story I will be going over the plot. Then we do have the special features. There's a commentary on here with Tom Baker, Elizabeth Sladen, Peter Miles, who played Nida, and the director, David Maloney. There's Genesis of a Classic, a 62 documentary looking at the making of Genesis of the Daleks. There's the Dalek Tapes, a 55-minute documentary which tells you the story of Doctor Who's most iconic villain, the Daleks. Then we do have Continuity Confirmation. We have a Blue Peter episode, we have Radio Times Billings, a DVD-ROM thing, then we have the Doctor Who Annual, another DVD-ROM, we have a photo gallery, we have subtitles and digitally remastered picture and sound. So opening it up. So inside we do have a leaflet on Genesis of the Daleks. We have 2 discs, disc 1 which features the actual Genesis of the Daleks, the 6-part story, and then we have the bonus feature disc here which has a Dalek on, or this has Davros on. Then the leaflet, which I'll just get out. So the leaflet, pretty much the same as the actual DVD cover, apart from it's a leaflet. Yeah, it's pretty much the cover apart from it has this writing here. On the back it has all the episode titles and what all the scenes are called, so you know where you're up to. At the bottom it has a phone number for where to call if you have any complaints. Then inside we have a little description on the characters: Tom Baker, Elizabeth Sladen, Peter Miles and David Maloney. Then we have a description on all the bonus features. And yes, that is pretty much it for the DVD in general. Now moving on to the review of the story Genesis of the Daleks. So, Genesis of the Daleks, possibly one of the best Doctor Who stories ever, and I can't deny it. This story is a definite 10 out of 10 and is up there with some of the greatest Doctor Who stories ever, such as The Caves of Anzani, The Enemy of the World, Blink, name a few more please. And yes, Genesis of the Daleks. What is it about? Well, Genesis of the Daleks, if you don't know, is all about the Daleks' development all those years ago when they first began on Skaro, when they were created by Davros. So the Doctor, Sarah Jane Smith and Harry Sullivan are recruited by the Time Lords to go on a mission to Skaro and stop or halt or slow down the development of the Daleks right at the very beginning, because the Time Lords have seen a time when the Daleks are the only life form in the universe because they have wiped out all other beings. The Time Lords don't want this, so that's why they send them on this mission. So yes, while they're on Skaro, they go through a lot of adventures, they get split up a few times, a lot of people die, they meet Davros, and yeah, that's basically the plot in a nutshell. Now going on to characters. So on to characters now, starting with Tom Baker as the Doctor. Now I thought in Genesis to Daleks, Tom Baker played the Doctor brilliantly, and this was the highest peak of Tom Baker's Doctor in my opinion, as his performance was stunning. He had comedic elements in here, he had serious elements in here, It was just a really good, outstanding performance from Tom Baker, in my opinion. And yes, one of the best performances from Tom Baker in Doctor Who ever, in my opinion, as he was so good in this story. Now moving on to Sarah Jane Smith. Now Sarah Jane Smith is a great companion, and I thought she was a great companion in this story as well. As she had a lot of character development in this story, she went off and had her own adventure, very similar to the Sarah Jane Adventures, as she went off on the Doctor and had her own adventure with this mutant who I can't remember the name of, but it will come to me soon. Now on to Harry Sullivan, the dark horse of companions in this story. However, in this story, I think he gets a lot more character development and a lot more recognition than in other stories. As in this story, it's just him and the Doctor, and Sarah Jane is out of the way. So I find it great that the Doctor and Harry have quite a bit more bonding in this story. The next character is Davros, creator of the Daleks. And yeah, Davros is brilliant in this story, a lot bigger villain than the Daleks in this story. As he is the creator, he is the most evil, as he created the deadliest monster in the universe, the Daleks. Davros is such a brilliant villain, and yes, it's ruined in Destiny of the Daleks when Davros is still alive, as the whole point of the Daleks were Davros created a being which hated all other life, including Davros. Then in Destiny of the Daleks, he was still alive. But other than that, not talking about Destiny of the Daleks, that just ruins Genesis. Davros was a really good villain, and yeah, great in my opinion. The next character is Nyder, Davros's henchman. Now, Nyder is such a brilliant villain in my opinion, who turns out to be sort of a goodie, but then turns out to be a baddie again. So, Nyder, what a brilliant villain. I think Nyder is just superb, very creepy, very horrible, I don't know how to describe him, but very villain-like, I think, Nyder, and is a superb villain, and is by Davros' side for pretty much the whole story. Kind of betrays Davros at the end by destroying the Dalek tapes, which the Doctor is giving Davros, because Davros has taunted the Doctor into giving him the tapes of how the Doctor defeated the Daleks in past stories, which are in the future of Davros' point of view. So yeah, other than that, he is a great villain. Now the next character, Beton, who is the leader of the Foul Resistant group. I think she's a great character, really well developed character. And yes, onto the next character. Sorry about that, my camera was just about to cut out. The next character is Severin, the mutant I was talking to you about. I think Severin is a brilliant character, very loyal to the Doctor and Sarah Jane. Yeah, a great character who turns out to be a goodie after all, as the Fowls and the Khaleds look down on him as he is being mutated by the Khaleds and Fowls nuclear war, and has been living on the rubble of Skaro for years. So yes, Severin is a great character. The next character is Ronson. Now Ronson is a great guy. He's a scientist who is against Davros' creation as the Daleks, as he disapproves of it, as he thinks Davros is betraying his species by mutating them into beings who have no emotions whatsoever, and all they can think about is killing anyone who is different to them. So Ronson is very good, as he betrays his own race, but for a good reason. Now the next character who I will be reviewing, there's a lot more characters than this is Garmin. Now Garmin is a brilliant character in my opinion, like all the characters in this story, as they are very well developed. So Garmin, superb character I think, so good. And yeah, Like Ronson, he turns on Davros as he disapproves of the Daleks' plans and helps with the story as well. And then, of course, there's the other characters and the Daleks. I wish we'd seen more of the Daleks in the story. I wish we'd seen when the Davros first actually created the Daleks and came up with the idea. However, we saw that, well, listen to it in I, Davros, the spin-off prequel by Big Finish Audios for this story. So yeah, other than the Daleks not having much of an appearance in this story, they only appeared in a few scenes per episode, but that's good because everyone gets a bit sick of the Daleks after a while. So yes, moving on to positives. So on to positives of Genesis of the Daleks, and there is a ton of positives for this story. The first positive being is we get a lot of character development in this story, particularly between the main three characters, the Doctor, Sarah Jane and Harry Sullivan. We see the Time Lords at the very beginning. We learn more about the Daleks' past, which is brilliant. That's the best part of this story. That's why it's a lot of people's #1 story. As everyone likes a good prequel, it's just superb, tells you how the Daleks were created, and is the first appearance of Davros, creator of the Daleks. Another positive to this story would be all the action in this story. There's a lot of action, some brilliant fight scenes between the Thals and the Khaleds, the Thals and the Daleks, the Khaleds and the Daleks. Yes, the descendants turned on the ancestors. Now you don't do that to your elderly people. But yeah, that's what the Daleks did. And then another positive would be the great cliffhangers in this story. And yeah, there are some really good cliffhangers in this story, particularly episodes 2 cliffhanger, where we see Sarah Jane Smith, some mutants, and a few other Khaleds who are being captured by the Thals, escaping from the Thal Dome up the rocket. And yes, Sarah Jane slips and falls down the rocket, and yeah, it pauses on the screen, and you wonder what's going to happen next. She's not going to die, is she? No one dies, really, in midway through a story in Doctor Who. And yeah, it left us on a great cliffhanger. I knew she wasn't going to die, but I wanted to know how she got out of that situation, what I found great. Episode 5 cliffhanger as well, that was a brilliant cliffhanger with the Doctor being strangled by one of Davros's experiments, an embryo of a Dalek. That was just superb. Yeah, so many great cliffhangers in this story. And yes, episode 6 cliffhanger, that led us to Revenge of the Cybermen, a story which I'm not really a fan of, but yeah, it was still good to see it carry on. Episode 1 cliffhanger as well, that's a great cliffhanger, as we see Davros for the first time, as well as the revelation that Davros is creator of the Daleks. And yes, another positive would be the wartime element of the story, as all Dalek stories are based on the war, as the Daleks strongly represent the Nazis. So yes, I think the wartime element of the story was great, as it felt very controversial, but yet very good. Yeah, this story was brilliant. That's all I have to say about this story. A definite 10 out of 10. There's loads more positives of this story. Another positive would be characters, brilliant camera work, brilliant scenes. I liked it when, well, I didn't like it when the Daleks killed everyone, but I thought that was brilliantly directed. Brilliant music. Yeah, there's so many positives for this story. I can't even list them all now. So on to positives, which will probably be around a 30-second section of this video. Sorry, negatives of this story, as there are very few negatives. So negatives of Genesis of the Daleks. There's only 2, which I'm going to tell you now. If this story didn't have these 2 negatives, it would be an 11 out of 10 rather than a 10 out of 10 because it is so good. The first negative is a continuity error. And this is, in the original Dalek story with William Hartnell, the Doctor said to his companions that the Daleks used to be known as the Dals. However, in this story, Davros revealed at the beginning that they were going to be called the Daleks. they were never known as the dolls. So yes, a continuity error in this story, which still annoys me to this day, but that's the only proper negative about this story. The next negative is kind of a negative, but sort of a comedy negative, as Destiny ruins this story completely, as at the end, like I explained earlier on in this video, this is all about the Daleks hating everything, including their ancestors, the Khalids, and then the Daleks kill off Davros. I find it annoying that Davros is still alive in Destiny. I thought Davros would just be a one-off character, not a character who would come back, annoyingly like the Daleks. So yes, they're my only negatives of the story. There will be a lot more on a typical review, probably a lot more on my next review, which is of the Five Doctors, which is still brilliant, but not as good as Genesis. So, onto my final conclusion. So, Genesis of the Daleks, like I've said, a brilliant story, a definite 10 out of 10. I would strongly recommend getting this story, as it is absolutely superb. Pretty much everything about this story is a 10 out of 10. It is so good, and even if you rewatch this like I have done a couple of times, it's still brilliant. And yes, it's worth buying, and buy this for $5.99, and you can download it. It's actually more expensive to download it, so yeah, go for the DVD if you want to experience Genesis of Daleks. Has some great bonus features on. Yeah, a great DVD and a brilliant story. So, until the next time, goodbye, and stay tuned for my next classic DVD review, which is The Five Doctors, the 20th anniversary special of Doctor Who, where I will be reviewing both the special edition and the 25th anniversary edition. So, once again, goodbye.